What's going on, guys? Tony Ivanov here with another video lesson, and today I'm going to talk about the one trade I took, CNET. I took a different route today. I didn't want to trade the morning spike because of yesterday. Excuse my voice, I'm still kind of sick. So I played CNET in the midday squeeze, and I profited just around $100 using only 200 shares. I didn't want to use my whole account size because I was still regaining my bearings from my large loss from yesterday where I lost $400 on AMRH. That was my biggest loss I've ever taken in 2 years of trading. I know it's not a huge loss compared to other traders, but to me, because I'm always really good at cutting my losses and using my rules, it was a big loss to me. So I wanted to have a slow day today and not over trade. So let me hold off on that. If you didn't know, every single day I give away $25, and it goes to the random comment of the previous video lesson. So I'm just gonna bring that up right now. We had 64 unique commenters on last video, so thank you all so much for commenting. I truly do appreciate it, and I do read every single one, so thank you all so much for commenting. If you are interested in winning this random comment or winning the $25, all you have to do is leave a like, leave a subscription, and leave a comment down below, and you'll enter the drawing. So Chan Smith, you are clearly one of the best trader channels on YouTube. I love how you break stuff down and you don't sell bullcrap stories. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I really pride myself in breaking it down step by step, making it easy for everyone to learn. So I'm glad that I'm doing something right in that regard. So Chan Smith, send me a message on YouTube with your PayPal email address, and I'll send that 25 bucks over to you. Oh, my voice is killing me today. So CNET, they released blockchain based news right before market open. Let me open up the news tool on E-Trade. Type in CNET. ChinaNet Online appoints, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that name, I'm sorry, Chief Strategy Officer or Blockchain and Business Development. So keyword right there, blockchain, that's all it needs to have. Right now we're in kind of like a cryptocurrency bubble where all these companies have to do is have the word blockchain in their news release, and then it's gonna bring in a bunch of investors and traders who want to trade the price action. So I was watching this with my traders in my live stream this morning, and we were expecting a morning spike over this pre-market high of $5.78, but it quickly just fell back down, and it didn't really go anywhere. So we stopped watching it in the first 10 minutes, and then there was really nothing great running today. There were a couple quick morning spikers, but I didn't want to play those because I was I was too nervous to play them, especially after yesterday. I wanted to trade something nice, slow, and predictable. So we started watching CNET again after one of my traders he told us that it was squeezing back up. Excuse me. And sure enough, it squeezed back up and broke the high of day. So I entered on the break of the high of day. Looking back, the best place to play this would have either been when it broke the downtrend right here. Nice little downtrend right there with the Bollinger Band squeeze, or you play this U-shaped breakout right there that causes it to squeeze into the high of day breakout. So I played this one with only 200 shares. Like I said, I wasn't aiming for a big win at all, just wanted to regain my balance and my bearings with trading, being inside of a stock and watching the price action move and letting the chart develop. And that's exactly what I did. Let me actually bring up the trade. I traded this a couple times. I traded it in total of 3 times, I believe. The first 2 times were just the quick the scalp trades, nothing big whatsoever. and then the last one was the one where I held on to it for longer and really just let the chart develop. I really can't remember where I bought it. Give me 1 second, let me get my E-Trade up. Okay, so here's my transactions for today. I made a total of $100, nothing big whatsoever, but just slowly making back that loss. You can see here I was doing some small scalping on it, and then I eventually bought at 617, sold at 683. That was my longer term where I made $120. So 617 to 683. Let's take a look at that real fast. Where? Okay, here it is. So 617, I was buying. Okay, so here's exactly where I bought. I bought the gradual descending wedge that formed right here. So we were watching this live. As this chart was developing, I was watching it pull back because I knew it had to pull back because of how extended it was and how wide the Bollinger Bands were. So I was watching it pull back, and then I noticed that it was holding VWAP very, very, very nicely. So I drew my trend line of the downtrend, and I told my traders, okay, this is a possible gradual descending wedge. So if it can break this downtrend on volume, I'm going to take a position. So it started to squeeze up, and it broke the downtrend, so I took a position. And then I was just watching it the whole time very closely and just watching what the price action did. So one of the first things I noticed was that after it squeezed up, the bottom of the candles never broke below this trend line. And then what else I did was I made another trend line that drew the downtrend right there. One also great thing to notice is that my risk level was the break of VWAP. So we never broke below VWAP, so I never sold my shares. And then once we broke this downtrend, we finally made a green candle, and we started making higher lows. So whenever you're doing these type of trades, not these quick morning spikes where it's just pure momentum and just pure volume, really just draw your trend lines so you can make the scaffolding of the price action. It really helps you understand where the stock is going to go, because it turns it like, it basically like turns it into like a binary choice. Either it breaks down and collapses, or it doesn't break down and it uptrends. It really makes it that much easier to understand what the stock is going to do next. So then once I saw this uptrending, I was saying, okay, if we can break this U-shaped breakout, we will squeeze up and have another leg higher. So that's just what we did. We broke that new high on volume, and then just did the same exact thing. So we spiked up, we had a nice pullback from profit takers, and then another U-shaped breakout. So at this point, in hindsight, of course, I didn't need to sell it at this point because it didn't reach my risk level. After we did this breakout, I basically raised my risk level and made it so that if the price action broke below the middle Bollinger Band line, then that's where I was going to cut my losses, or not my losses, take my profits, and guarantee my profits is what I mean. But eventually in this area, I just wanted to lock it in because I didn't want to take I wanted to lock it in this area because I was up around $100 or so, and I just wanted to make back that loss from yesterday slowly. So I sold my shares here and made around $120 on that trade. Looking back, of course, I could have just used this new high at $6.75 as the support level, because it never really broke down below that. Although it did break below the middle Bollinger Band line here, so seeing that, I probably would have sold my shares because it would have looked like it was downtrending. So I would have probably made the exact same amount of money either way. But of course, it held its higher lows, and it did another U-shaped breakout over this level, and just kept squeezing up higher and higher and higher. And this eventually hit a high of $8.20. Excuse me, $8.29. So that would have been a very, very, very awesome trade if I held it on for just a bit longer. I would have been able to trade from $6.17 to the high 7s or low 8s, and I would have made probably around $300 on that trade using only $1,240 of trading capital when I entered that trade. So very, very, very nice trade on CNET. Just one of the things you need to consider is that the reason why this was able to do this is because it had a news release. This would not happen on the stock that had no news release whatsoever. You have to understand that these types of plays, the reason why they get volume and the reason why people buy them is because they have that news catalyst. So if you're looking for these type of midday squeezes and afternoon plays, you have to focus on stocks that have news, because that's what brings in the traders, that's what brings in the investors, and that's what creates the hype around the stock. This wouldn't happen on some random stock that had no news whatsoever. I mean, it could if it was just a low float type play and there was nothing else trading, possibly, but it's much more likely that this would happen on a stock that has news. So I'm probably going to be doing these type of plays more often, because it's harder to teach the morning spikes, and of course there is it does have a lot more risk to it when you're playing those morning spikes, because you can make a bunch of money on them, but you can also lose very fast. And I know a bunch of my students don't want to take that risk on yet, so I'm going to try to focus more towards these plays. I'm not going to stop trading the morning spikes because I love trading those so much, but at the same time I need to expand my horizons and start learning other strategies. So I'm going to start practicing these because I do like how you can just watch the chart pattern grow and develop, and just use the trend lines and indicators to track its progress. But I really do like to trade the morning spikes because you're dealing with trader psychology and understanding what other traders are going to be doing. So that's also an area that I like to do, or that's also an area that I like to focus on as well. So just as a trader, you always have to adapt to the markets, and you have to adapt to yourself. So I always knew that I wasn't always going to be playing morning spikes. The reason why I was playing morning spikes was they were working really, really, really well. And don't get me wrong, they still are working really, really well. But for me and myself and my situation as a trader and a teacher, I need to readapt to my surroundings and help other traders learn how to play stocks like these, because they don't make you as much money and they're not nearly as quick, but I believe it's easier to learn the chart patterns and price action on these types of plays, because you can really just draw your trend lines and break down exactly what the stock is doing at every step of the way. So just some tips for you guys when you're looking at stocks like this. Always draw your trend lines. Whenever you see any sort of pattern, just draw that trend line, because it breaks it down into a binary option. Not the binary option that you can trade, but what I mean is that it creates a scenario where there's only two possible outcomes. Either it breaks down and downtrends, or it breaks out and uptrends, and that really helps you understand the price action and what the next pattern will form. And I really also recommend just go look at some stocks and just try to identify different trend lines in different patterns. Go back into stocks like Facebook and their 1 hour time frame, and just see if you can identify different chart patterns, because trust me, the more that you do that, the more that you practice, the better you will be at identifying those possible patterns real time. Because when I drew out this trend line and I said, okay, this is a possible gradual descending wedge, a bunch of my traders were like, whoa, how do you know that? Like, how can you see that? It's because I've seen this pattern happen over and over and over again, and I've studied it over and over and over again. It didn't just come to me overnight. It's because I practiced it, and I have been studying this for years. So if you want to see the same success, then you need to do the same. Simple as that. So that's going to be it for today's video. My voice is going out and I'm really tired. Hope you guys saw some value in this content. If you did, of course, leave a like, leave a subscription, leave a comment down below if you want to enter the random drawing for $25. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video lesson. Oh, also, one thing I forgot to note, if you were trying to visit my website for the past couple days, you probably were getting an error that said that the connection wasn't secure. That's fixed now. There was some issue with the I forgot what it's called, the SSL certificate, and my web host was taking forever to get that resolved, but it finally is. So if you're interested in joining my program or my chat room, now you can go to my website. The link is down below, and it'll be completely safe to access. So I just wanted to update you guys on that. So if you stuck around to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching the whole thing. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.